What about the companies? Are all these companies that you're acquiring, do they have a set budget, or you have to, make the acquisition, set the budget, set the gross margin targets? Yeah. Tell us, how is that journey?
Yeah, I mean, they were buying small businesses.
Yeah.
I didn't have a budget until $25 million. So
yeah.
So yeah, we got there.
To the listeners, no, do not do that.
Yeah. I made a lot of decisions that I wouldn't recommend.
Welcome to the Reimagining Home Services podcast. I'm Brady Jolly with my partner and COO, Scott Sharrock. We lead a rapidly growing plumbing, HVAC, electrical, and water cleanup business, and we're on a mission to run a $100 million company. Join us as we walk through the challenges, decisions, and lessons that come with that journey. Welcome back to the Reimagining Home Services podcast. Today we have a lot different episode because we're here in, how do you say the name of the city? Stowe, Ohio, near Akron.
Yep. With
my friend John Wilson. John is the owner or the CEO of the Wilson Companies, made up of 6 branches. And as of like an hour ago, $53 million in revenue. Which seems like every time I talk to him, that just keeps growing by like tens of millions of dollars. So congrats.
It is an issue. It is an issue. Yeah.
Yeah. So thanks for having us to your shop, showing us around, and for being on our podcast while we're here in your studio.
Oh yeah,
it's awesome.
Is great. This is great. Have you guys fully built out the studio inside your office yet?
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's actually pretty. It's got a lot of
similar vibe.
Yeah.
Same curtain.
Okay.
Yeah. We actually got feedback that said, "Hey, dude, you guys really need to iron your curtain."
Yeah, steam them.
That's
steam them.
funny. That's funny.
Yeah.
Oh, we probably have to do the same.
So, dude, I feel like we could talk about 100 things with you. You're, among other things, a voice of the industry. Like, I feel like I know you way better than I actually do because I've listened to your podcast now for a few years. So I know a lot about you, much like a lot of the other people do that listen to you all the time. But
it's an odd experience.
I bet.
To meet people and be like, oh yeah, here's this one nuanced thing from 3 years ago. And I'm like, okay.
Oh my gosh, I almost forgot that. Yeah. But you have made a huge dent in the industry. So why don't you just start by telling us your story and how you got into this? I know it's a family business. Tell us how you got into it and then just go from there.
Yeah. Family business, really similar to your story. I grew up in it. So I think I was 8 or 9 when I first started spending summers. I would go to the shop after school. My dad, for some reason, paid me money to empty trash cans or put away fittings. So I was working in the warehouse and just helping put files away as I was growing up. And then in my early teens, I started I wanted to do more. I found it interesting, and I probably just wanted money. I've always just liked making money. So I started helping out as an apprentice over the summer in maybe 13, 14. So early high school. And I picked up a lot. I picked up a lot. And I think I'm trying to think about how to say this right. When I graduated high school, and this is it's a life story, unfortunately, guys, what you're getting here. But when I graduated high school, I went to college at first. I went to college 3 times. I did not complete any of those programs. But the first time was for graphic design. I ended up with some health issues really quickly into going to school, so I had to drop out. And by that point, I was I had been working throughout the summers. Obviously, I wasn't a fully blown plumber, but I also wasn't that far off. Mm-hmm. In a couple mission trips I ran in my youth group, I repiped some homes.
That's awesome.
At 16. So I was capable of doing this.
Were those local or at other countries or?
They were West Virginia,
Appalachia.
Yeah.
We've done a couple mission trips.
So we did some Appalachian mission trips. I did that all throughout high school. Cool. And then I was the designated plumber for those
nice.
Which was kind of funny.
So
I would go fix toilets. I replaced a main at one point, a main water valve. And I'm are you sure? I'm literally 16 years old. At 18, I had to live. So I came and worked inside the business as a technician. I was already pretty competent at that point, or at least competent enough. Mm-hmm. And that was really the first 7 years of my career was hands on the tools, actual technician, doing a lot of I led our boiler installations. I did a lot of our HVAC installations, and then I'm a licensed I hold a few of our licenses. And then my dad was getting ready. My dad and I have a large age gap, so he's 42 years older than I am. So I was 25 and he was 67, and he was trying to figure out what he was going to do with the business. I actually, we closed a deal this morning. I told you guys about that, but that deal was near and dear to me because when I was in high school and like entering the business, my dad was thinking about selling the business because he was 65 years old and he was like trying to figure out what he was going to do with the business. And he invited me along to a series of lunches with a potential buyer. And that buyer, like, it was over the course of probably a year and a half of lunches at this place in Montrose, Akron, Ohio. And that I learned like how to roughly negotiate a deal, how to think about values, how to present P&Ls. And this was like, I was 18 or 19. I had no idea what I was learning. But comically, the deal that we closed today is that guy.
No way.
We ended up buying him,
dude. Congratulations.
17 years later.
That's full circle.
which was kind of. So he and I were reflecting on that yesterday.
That's really cool.
This is where I learned M&A was like alongside these lunches as an 18-year-old, and I was able to eventually buy that guy out.
Okay, so you guys started out. Was it plumbing to start or HVAC or both?
Plumbing and boilers. Like Ohio is like a lot of boilers. So plumbing and boilers are like pretty closely related. We added full HVAC in like 2016.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So there's a lot that we could talk about on this episode. I really want to hear more about the M&A. I mean, I think that's you've really done a good job of.
I've at least done a job.
Yeah. Right. I just want to hear. I mean, because I think it's easy for small businesses, 50 million and less, which you no longer qualify for, I guess, as of this morning.
Let's go.
But it's easy for all of us to say like, yeah, we want to buy up companies, and everybody says that.
Yes.
Everybody who has a company bigger than $3 or $4 million, like, yeah, I'd like to do some local acquisitions, but not many people are doing it, and definitely not to the scale that you have.
Yeah.
So give us a little backstory on when that started, how many you've done. Let's start with that.
So I was introduced to M&A. I was introduced to M&A pretty early through the gentleman that we just acquired this morning. So it was sort of like I was around it. My dad had bought a bunch of real estate, so I understood the concept of like you can buy something to make money, which I think like those two fundamental things were a pretty important piece of the puzzle. Because a lot of people don't even think about M&A as a way to do it, but if you're watching people acquire real estate, like businesses is a much more complicated version of that, but it is a version of that. So yeah, I sort of like grew up around it, and as an early adult, I grew up around it. And then obviously I acquired my dad, and we ran an arm's length transaction. So we had it independently valued twice. We took the average. We were, I was going to school at that time at a community college for accounting. And I did that for 2 years. So I was able to sort of take a lot of the lessons from that and just like, okay, how do we think about acquisitions? How do I read a P&L? How do I understand like the financials of a business? Take it immediately to acquiring my parents' side of the business. So I think those two things are pretty fundamental. Is my early adult life, like that was my exposure, was watching it happen and then personally performing it before I really knew what was really going on. I also think it was generally interesting. Like I'm back on Origin Story because I think the only reason that I'm doing M&A the way I'm doing it is because of Origin Story.
Sure, makes sense.
I watched it. I watched my dad buy real estate. I participated in these lunches. I bought my dad. And once you see what you can do with M&A, it's easier to get on board with it. And then in my early 20s, because of that health thing I talked about, I was like, it was kind of funny. I was very broke, very, very broke. So I got very deep into like personal finance and trying to understand like, okay, is this like current situation? Like my utilities were shut off. I had to shower at my friends' houses at like 21. And like I was too stubborn to move home with my parents. So like, yeah. And so I was sitting there at 21 and I was like, is this really going to be the rest of my life? Like this, like I can't pay my gas bill. I can't pay my water bill. And I just had to go to my friend's house. And then my brother dropped my groceries off. So like, is this going to be my life? Because this is crazy. Yeah. So I got deep into personal finance. That turned into, you can buy shit to live, which like I parlayed off my dad's experience and those M&A conversations. I then acquired the controlling interest of Wilson. And then once that happened, it was like off to the races.
Nice.
We, shortly after I bought the family business, we bought a business locally in town. I watched a competitor do M&A, and I just heard about it.
Yeah.
And I was sitting there one day, and this guy was like, "Oh yeah, he just bought that company," and I was like, "Oh my god, yeah, I can just actually go do that." So I went and created a list of 50 companies that had less than 200 Google reviews. Was I think the metric that I used of like, I think I can afford them.
Sure.
I got 3 responses. I acquired one in 2018. I acquired one in 2019. And I didn't acquire the third.
Sweet.
But it was literally just like sending letters and like,
Wow.
"Hey, it's me. I'm John. Like, this is what I'm thinking about doing.
Yeah.
What do you want? You want to talk?"
Just meeting people, networking,
Yeah.
getting to know them.
And-
So how many acquisitions now have you guys done?
As of today, 15.
15.
Wow.
Okay. So you said you have 6 branches, 15 acquisitions.
Yeah.
How's that work?
So when you buy a business, it can either like stand alone as a branch, or it can be tucked into one of your existing branches. We've done both. We've even done both for our branches now. Like we have a branch in Fort Wayne, Indiana. We bought a second one in Fort Wayne, Indiana, like 3 months apart, and actively they're consolidating. So I think that'll be done in mid-August. So
And they're all under the Wilson brand. Is that right?
they will all eventually end
Yeah,
up under
that's
the
the
Wilson
end goal.
brand. Yeah. Usually it takes about a year
Okay.
for us. From like we acquire a business to they're running the Wilson flag is about a year.
And then what industries does that cover?
Plumbing, HVAC, electric, damage remediation.
Septic?
Septic, I'd sort of include in plumbing, like
Yeah,
drain,
septic,
like
yeah.
under above ground plumbing, below ground plumbing.
Yeah.
Like drains is a big part of our business.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, the business we acquired this morning was almost exclusively drains.
Oh, man.
Oh, it's the
That
best.
gets me
Oh,
pumped
up.
yeah, dude.
Sewer drains is my favorite.
I-
It's like
Dude.
I know.
the ceiling. There's a lot of conversation, and I know like
Yeah.
several of your podcasts have been around sewer lining, which have been
Oh, yeah.
super encouraging to us.
Totally.
And motivation to dive in.
Yeah.
Not to take us down that rabbit hole.
No, it's
Dude,
huge. I mean,
that's awesome.
for us, drains I think is the biggest growth opportunity we've got.
Yeah. Best margins in the game if you do it
Yeah,
right.
totally.
High risk, high reward.
Yep.
So one question that I'm going to ask you is what's the perfect deal look like? But first I'm going to answer because that triggered something. For me, what I'm looking for is a
Drains.
drain
Yes.
company
that
like-
only services.
and they're like,
We don't do
just
replacements.
like popping open drains.
yeah. So there is an example of this. Someone told me about this yesterday, or not last week. But there's that company, and they do like $8 million a year.
Just popping open drains.
Just popping open drains.
Drains.
And apparently they're in like Minneapolis or something, and every's trying to buy these
course.
guys
Yeah.
because it's a $50 million business pretending to be an $8 million
Insane.
business.
Okay, so for you, what's the perfect deal look like? Perfect business look like when you're looking for acquisitions?
Yeah. Like plumbing heavy. So yeah, I'll give a couple. I'll give a couple. Perfect is plumbing heavy. Ideally drain heavy. Like that is the perfect, because usually we can do something real there. So like, hey, there's probably some pricing power, like to our customers. There's probably pricing power from our vendors.
High
but
urgency.
High urgency. I don't have to worry about seasonality as much. I just find plumbing to be like operationally less intensive than HVAC. So that would be like tier S for me. Tier A is a HVAC company that doesn't know how to buy equipment.
Oh, that's
Wow.
a good observation. I mean,
it's
normally I
tremendous.
would think of HVAC not able to turn over, but
No, you can deal with
to
that.
go
But like
straight
if
equipment
you
buying.
if you have an HVAC company that's spending like most of the HVAC companies that we look at, they're small, so like under 5 million of revenue, and their equipment and materials percentage line on their P&L is north of 35%.
Yeah.
Like we have one in Michigan, I think it's like 38 or 39.
Yep.
And I can go into that business and make it 25 on the first day.
Really?
Like that's $1 million of EBITDA in some of these like businesses that we just add we didn't do anything.
And
we
is
just walked
most
in
of-
and they buy our stuff.
Is most of that from pricing, vendor strategy?
Vendors,
you know?
our vendor negotiations, our
Yeah.
rebate strategy, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I'm usually like, I'm not as excited about that because HVAC is just more complicated. There's
The
flips,
seasonality
there's
factor, too.
seasons, there's just a lot more going on. But you can take a business from 500,000 of EBITDA to $1.5 million with the stroke of a pen. Like, it's a hell of a drug.
Yeah.
So has your procurement changed a lot? Like, tell us a little bit about that cycle as you've gotten the M&A. Obviously, the revenue's there, the purchasing's there. You just gave a great example of it. Like, that's a superpower. So, like, how has that changed and scaled through XYZ?
Yeah, so I think for what happened with purchasing for us is we basically got to around 30 million, 25 million of revenue, and then purchasing became, in my mind, at 20, you're probably at scale for like whatever market you're in. Like, you're an at scale business, you should be able to negotiate good terms, like a good program with whoever you're buying from. Mm-hmm. So we got there, we started like really paying attention to our purchasing. Who's our partners? Do we have good rebates? Do we have good terms? Like length of terms, but also like delivery terms and like stock outs and like what happens in all these different scenarios. Like, do we have a good partnership with these vendors that we're paying millions of dollars to? So we started giving that a lot of attention a couple of years ago, and it worked for both us and the vendors. Like, the vendors make a ton of money, which is really great for them. And for us, we got control, we got great pricing, we got great rebates. So what we've done now is we basically just taken that program and we've scaled it as we've added a new branch. And I think that concept is the same for any part of your business. I think like you can say procurement, but you could insert HR, marketing, accounting. When you hit that like mid 20 millions, you're at scale. Like, you've got an accounting function, you have an HR function, you have a marketing function, procurement. Like, you have the bones of an at scale business, and you start outgrowing your overhead. Mm-hmm. So like, if your overhead is 35% of your revenue, if you add another 10 million of revenue, your overhead doesn't stay 35%. It probably goes down to like 30.
Yeah. And that's how you're able to achieve a really good, healthy EBITDA, right?
Totally. Yeah. Like, we're in the low 20s, like 22, 23%.
Incredible. And how have you seen that change from when you were like more single location, single branch to now having all these branches?
We were single digit EBITDA all the way up until 2023 or 4. We got to 15%, I want to say, maybe 16 or 17. It was in that range, like call it 15 to 17 in 2025. And then it was exactly this concept. Yeah. We're like, okay, at this point, our overhead is like roughly a fixed number. Mm-hmm. And we divide overhead like fixed costs and then variable mainly just being marketing.
Sure.
So our overhead, the fixed cost of our overhead is the same number. It's $680,000. Yeah. Like, maybe it wiggles because of some random thing, who knows? But $680,000. And our marketing, let's call it $200. So we're into every month at $880. All I need is more gross profit dollars.
Yep.
So that was our plan last year, was like, we're like, oh my gosh, we just outgrew our overhead. Like, this was a crazy month. We didn't have to add anybody. This didn't feel any harder. It actually felt easier than the previous year. Okay, so how do we just go get more gross profit dollars? And M&A was like, oh, well, we can just do that. Like, we can just go from $1 million of gross profit dollars a month to 1.9, which is how much. That's the gross profit dollars that we'll do this month in July.
And that's without really adding a whole lot of expense overhead.
We added some, but it's not been crazy.
So what do you centralize? What do you share? What are the shared services among branches? And then what do the branches handle themselves?
Yeah, I think we'll get tighter on this as time goes on. The way that we're doing it now is when we walk into a business, where are you weak?
Yeah.
So, okay, you have a terrific call center. This happened down in Nashville. We partnered with Jack Carr in Nashville, like one of my BFFs.
Yep.
And his call center was incredible. And he's got a call center manager named Alex, and like, she's just running a tight ship. I'm good on that.
Why would
I touch that and just like create a bunch of disruption for zero reason? Mm-hmm. They were running a really effective recruitment process. As far as like pacing, where they struggled was like their job descriptions and their comp structures needed some tightening up. So we go in and like we find the weakness. Marketing was a big weakness. They didn't have and which is going to be most companies' weaknesses. Sure. They just haven't had to be as locked in as you need to be. So we usually provide that. We always have to centralize accounting. And like the legal side of HR, we centralize immediately.
What's your senior leadership like? Is there any overlap? Do you have, an operator that is over all branches, or is it most independent branches?
Yeah. So right now, if we talk 6 months ago, it's going to be different. And then if we talk 6 months from now, it might be different. So this is a moving target. But where we've landed is like branch leaders, call them GMs.
Yep.
And then we centralize the things that we have to centralize. We have to centralize the legal side of HR. We have to centralize accounting. We have to centralize marketing oversight and administrative, most likely, just because we're buying companies that don't have a marketing function yet.
Sure.
That would probably be different if we bought like a $20 million business that already had a marketing function. And then the idea is that, hey, you run the branch, you run the day-to-day ops. We're going to help you on procurement contracts, but like we're not going to get involved in your day-to-day purchasing. That's just going to slow everything down. When we went in 2021, we bought 3 businesses, and we went from like 35 employees to 105 in like a couple of months. And at that time, we had 4 branches because of the 3 businesses and then our original branch. And one of the areas that we really whiffed on was we over-centralized operational tasks, procurement being one of them, where like we put someone in HQ or whatever you want to call it that had to manage buying for each and every branch. And it was just a total nightmare. So we've just instead put a lot of controls around that. We put some preferred vendor partners in place. And then like, if you can beat this price, go wherever the heck you want.
Sure. It's a good lesson. And then what about like your operational cadences? Tell us a little bit about, you got 6 locations. You just mentioned they're all different in marketing. They're all different in procurement. What about like their operational cadences? We talked earlier today, like daily huddle, stuff like that. How do you implement those?
Yeah.
What does that look like?
Daily huddles get implemented pretty quick. Operational cadence, there's a daily huddle. There's a daily budget. There's a weekly budget that we by department, and it's determined by annual budget paired with current headcount. So we have to like compare the two if there's some big difference for whatever reason. And then daily huddle, that gets implemented. Inside daily huddle is our director of marketing or like a representative of marketing. So what we've done now is like underneath our director of marketing, he has 3 I want to say it's coordinators, and each of them basically has 2 locations. So like, hey, this is your 3-day call.
They know the pulse of, the volume of calls. They need to turn it up, turn it down.
Yeah, because like 3-day call board is a very active. It's a contact sport.
Oh yeah.
So they each manage like 2 call boards apiece.
Okay. That's
nice. So whoever's representing that location is on that daily huddle. Call center leader, whoever's representing them, because we have a couple call center managers. Some of them have consolidated call centers. Some of them don't yet, but that's an active project. We just run call center better than usually most of the companies we acquire, except for Nashville. They were doing a great job.
What about the companies? Are all these companies that you're acquiring, do they have a set budget, or you have to make the acquisition, set the budget, set the gross margin targets? Yeah. Tell us, like, how is that journey?
Yeah, I mean, we're buying small businesses.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't have a budget until $25 million. So
yeah.
So yeah, we got there.
To the listeners, no, do not do that.
Yeah. I made a lot of decisions that I wouldn't recommend.
Yeah,
that is one of them. So that's one of them. So yeah, we didn't have a budget till late. So yeah, we just go in and as a part of our due diligence, like we build a budget.
Yeah.
So hey. Because you have to end up rebuilding the P&L. Like that purchasing example is like a great example of like, hey, here's what this business did, but like, here's what it's going to do for me. So, hey, their purchasing is actually going to be 25% or 27% or 21%, depending on the business. This cost goes away because it's redundant. So like maybe Service Titan or like some other random software, like we already have it, so we don't have to pay it. Maybe they have redundant team members. That often happens in accounting where like they have a part-time bookkeeper and it's like, okay, well, we don't need that. Or part-time, like their marketing agencies, we don't need that. We centralize it into ours. So we rebuild the P&L during diligence, so that way we have a target when,
So when that green light, it's live. Budget's set.
We're already done. Yeah, we're done. Now, granted, it's not a... I would say it's high level. It's not like a bottoms up number of tickets, conversion
some healthy
rate.
assumptions.
Yeah, yeah. You're making like high level assumptions, and then they get baked into annual budget as annual.
So what's this team look like that's helping you with acquisitions? I mean, I assume you're leading a lot of the relationship building and growing the relationship, and then like what's the due diligence process look like?
So I have an assistant. I've done it solo. I've done it with an assistant. But I have an assistant, and she like helps move a lot of the there's a lot of just administrative burden with M&A. So she helps move that along, and then legal, and that's pretty much it.
So you're just cowboying this by yourself. I mean,
we've done 15. So like at this point, like we have reps. Like a process. Yeah. I know where we've been bit. I know what's a problem. I know what's not a problem.
Yeah.
Okay, so of those 15 acquisitions you've done, how many companies do you think that you've like had more than just an initial conversation, like where you start doing a little due diligence that haven't worked out? Like how many do you have to look at to get to 15?
Hundreds. Yeah, hundreds.
Like the hit rate is low. It's like less than 10% probably of who you talk to and then actually acquire, right?
Yeah, I think it's low, and I think for my specific scenario, it's a little bit different because the podcast gives so many more at bats.
Yeah.
And not even like an at bat, but just like these people are my friends. Like Jack is just my friend. Yeah. Like we're friends in the industry.
Slid into your DMs on Twitter, right?
pretty much.
So you up?
Basically. So I don't even that wasn't even like an acquisition opportunity. Awesome. And I really think when I think about this year, so we've done 5 deals this year,
which is insane.
And
we're sitting here in July.
I know. Yeah, I need checked out.
You need to chill out.
Yeah. So, well, and I think the funny thing is, like, I'm just a dude. Yeah. Like, I'm not like private. I'm like just some random guy in Akron, Ohio.
Yeah.
So I'm sure someone's doing it even crazier. But so 4 of them came from like me just talking to people or me having a podcast. Like 4 of them were never, hey, are you interested? Like, I just like to engage. I'm engaging with you right now. I like this. And I like talking to people in the industry. And people come to the workshop and then they email me 3 months later, like, hey, here's what I'm thinking about. Or years later. So the one in January, like I started talking to him 8 years ago.
Wow.
The one in February, I met him 3 years ago. Him and his team came to the workshop twice. And then we bought him.
Yeah. And it's February. A snowball effect, I'm sure, like as you build this reputation, like, you know, not that you and I before this have known each other that much. This is the first time we've been around each other. Like I said, I feel like I really know you.
Yeah.
And I, like me knowing you from the outside, like I know you're building this, like if somebody wants to sell and they're anywhere near this area or whatever, like
I come up.
You come up. You're the guy, you know? And
I think being out on the podcast helps too, because like who I am on the show, for better or worse, is often who I am in person.
100%. So, and there's so many people, we talked about it earlier, who say like, man, I just don't really know if I want to sell to PE right now. You know, I kind of want to like know the guy who's buying me, and you know. And
will you say what you said earlier, just off the record of the your selling example? That was just awesome.
Yeah, well, I think it's helpful. Oh, so I have a couple comments on that. So, one, as you think about the business, and we said this, we did another interview prior, and only 2 things can ever happen with your business, and I think people really get lost in the sauce on this. Because I used to think this too, of like, oh, I'm a forever hold guy.
Yeah.
Well, like, hey man, I don't live forever. So like, that I think I just woke up one day and I was like, I will die. So something has to happen there. But only 2 things can ever happen with your business. You either shut it down or you sell it. You have an option on who you sell it to. You can sell it to your team members. You can sell it to your kids. You can sell it to a third party. Like those are the only 2 options that any of us have. And I think that owners, I often talk to these very like, puffed
never
up,
selling,
like, I'm never selling. And I'm like, well, you have 2 options. Like you're either going to die owning it and it's going to go nowhere and not help a single person in your life, or you're going to sell to one of those 3 parties.
100%.
So I think, people get really,
I love that.
Yeah.
It's impactful. I mean, I had never had it or listened to it broken down in that framework. It's really good.
Yeah. I think, and this is after, I've talked to hundreds of owners at this point, and so many of them miss their mark, or something totally like out of the blue came up, like health. Like none of us really control when we have a heart attack or when we have cancer at 38, or like any crazy shit that can happen in our lives.
Yeah.
And it takes years of preparation to sell your business for absolute top dollar. And I think people just get stuck in this, like, they think that today's reality is forever's reality, and like that's just not it. Like, I've talked to so many owners that had a heart attack, they're trying to figure out what to do with their business. They should have taken the offer 4 years ago, and they had it, but they told the guy to, F off because I'm never selling my business. And like, what are you doing now? Because your family needs you.
Yeah.
Okay, so we talked about sourcing the deals. We talked about the type of deals that you like. We talked a little bit about structure. I want to talk about how you value deals, because I think sometimes that can be some of the most challenging part for people who haven't done M&A.
Yeah.
So, you got a deal in front of you. How do you value it?
I think this is kind of funny. So I've been on like a Twitter or X for a while, and there's like an entrepreneurship through acquisition like group there. And I think that how I think about value, there are some rough calculations to get to value. Valuation is an art. It is not a science. Yeah. And I think as you think about value, people get so lost in this of like, well, what's the value? The value is whatever both parties agree on.
Yeah.
Like, that's value.
Yeah.
And I guess you can, this is your show. You'll bleep that out.
We'll leave it.
but that's the value. And I don't know. Like, I think people get so caught up in like, hey, it is exactly this penny because my spreadsheet told me that.
Right.
Okay, well, what if the seller wants 50 grand more? Like, are you not going to do it?
Sure.
Okay, well, now the value is 50 grand more.
Yeah.
So I think I use helpful benchmarks. I value the business, like for a Main Street business, which would be like under $1 million of EBITDA, somewhere between 3 and 4.5, 5 times their EBITDA. I will get spicier on that multiple if it's a better fit for me. Like,
of course, we just talked about that. Like if it's drains or something that you can scale,
or like literally it's convenient. Like
Yeah.
I paid 500 grand more than I should have according to my value because it was worth a lot more because it was convenient to me. It was in the right location, it had the right service mix, and it solved the problem for my other Fort Wayne branch.
And then as far as funding these, is it a mixture of debt, cash, owner financing? Like what's your strategy there?
Yeah, so we've done a variety of things. Just like we educate our technicians on how to offer options in the home, we offer options to sellers. Yeah. So 3 options. So there's 3 options. We can do an all cash deal. It will be the least economic deal that I can offer you, but like we can do an all cash deal. We can do a bank deal. I go get debt, like probably SBA or conventional or pick a thing. But I'll just go get some debt. We'll buy your business. Here's roughly like the good and the bad of that.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And final is like seller economics, basically a seller note. This is the highest economics. And like, here's how it works.
Yeah.
I still find this surprising, and I want to communicate that I always offer those 3 options because what I say next will shock a lot of people. I offer those 3 options every time. I have never had anyone take the first option. No one's ever taken all cash, ever. And only out of 15 acquisitions, 2 have taken debt.
Wow.
I don't push them any which way. Like, here's the LOI. You circle the one you want.
Love it.
And we will do this. And 13 of them have selected seller note.
And what is the like general requirements? Like, do you like the previous owner to have any involvement, 1 year, 3 year, or is it just situational?
I'd say situational. I would say overwhelmingly the owner exits.
Yeah.
In like 1-2 cases, they didn't.
Okay.
Like Jack's a perfect example.
Oh,
but like we also
that is.
of merged with Jack, so a little bit different.
Sure.
But like Jack's awesome, and he's still staying on. And then we did a deal like 8 years ago that the guy stayed on.
Probably matters too with what that owner's like skill set and then their goals are. Like, Jack's a great example. What is he? Is he 30?
He's like 33. Yeah, he's talented,
and he's ready to go to the moon.
He's great. Yeah, he's
which is
great.
different than someone 67, 70 exiting, and I don't think they're gonna have the same goals. Maybe, but Doubtful.
No, I think it'd be challenging, and I usually I'm not easy to work with, so I just communicate that a lot up front.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah. But usually the core problem is licensing. So who's got the license?
Yep.
So when companies are making the decision, like your decision pretty much has been go all in on acquisitions, which I absolutely love. Some companies might say they want a greenfield to go multi-location. Some companies might say, hey, I just want to be right here in my own city and just try to gain as much market share as possible. What are some things to factor when you're making all those decisions, and why have you leaned so hard into acquisition?
Well, I think people are good at what they're good at. And I think greenfielding is often a more efficient way to grow, from capital. There's less bumps than M&A. I think a lot of the headlines that you see are kind of a combination. Yeah. We're hey, we buy something and then we grow it, which is basically what we're doing. Sure. Before this year really skews it, but before this year, we had done 10 acquisitions and 70+% of our revenue was organic growth. So we're talented at organic. We've just used M&A to move it along faster. Yeah. And in my opinion, that is the highest value thing that you can do. I think that people get really stuck in this either or, oh, well, I can either buy or I can greenfield. And it's who said that?
You can just do both.
Yeah. I mean, look at any Fortune 500. They have a strong inorganic. They have a strong organic. That's what makes you a best-in-class business is you can grow regardless of anything. And that being able to swap between both gives you that power.
How have you kept the focus on this? What you're talking about is growing organic and making sure, OG Wilson, which is the bulk of, or at least at one point was the bulk. How did you keep the eye and that team engaged to, hey, don't lose this?
Yeah. Well, we talked about who's on the M&A team.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's me and my assistant.
Okay. So
it's
it's they're not even feeling that weight. So
of operations?
Yeah.
No, not really.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, not really. I don't know. For better or worse. Brandon's my Scott, and Brandon does an incredible job. That's and awesome. We've been partnered for 6 years. Yeah, he's incredible. So he does an awesome job running we basically buy it. I don't even participate much in integration anymore, mainly just because I kind of make a mess and I don't actually know how a lot of this stuff works. I couldn't put ops together in the same way that they can. So we just do a handoff. We had our handoff today because we acquired a business at 9 o'clock this morning. So they're actively working through integration.
That's awesome.
Okay, cool. Okay, so after the deal gets done, this morning you signed the integration. Are you literally, you're all right, I'm moving on to kind of go hunt more? Or are you is there a period of time you're more involved, making sure the integration's happening? Yeah. Just walk us through a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so I think this depends. At the stage that we are now, I'm not as involved as you'd imagine.
Yeah.
I haven't gone to most of the "we just bought you" speeches this year. Brandon's done those.
Awesome.
Frankly, Brandon's more relatable than I am. So he just does a better job. So, I'll usually help on hey, this was the plan. Did we drive that ServiceTitan cost savings? Did we drive that procurement savings that I had booked? And really making sure that we are accounting for it properly. So I'm really running the accounting side of the house where, hey, controller's good to go. You're in our books. Your ERP is connected to mine. We are good to go. Mm-hmm. But then on the operations and direct technician interfacing, that's our HR manager and Brandon.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Okay, so what would your advice be for companies who are thinking about putting their foot on the gas in acquisitions?
Well, I think I think a key part is offering those three things, and I think I mentioned out of 15 deals, 13 have taken the seller note. I don't force it. I literally offer three things, and I think people will do it, and it's not a bad deal for them. I think people feel so. All that to say, most of the time, people are concerned, how am I going to pay for this deal? That's why I'm focused on this. Well, I can't do M&A because I don't have any money. Well, okay, I bought the first business with no money. I bought the second business with like $10,000 down because that's what I had. Like I bought a lot of businesses with very little money, and that's not like a guru thing. I just think you have two people that want to do a deal together. You have economics that can work for the seller and economics that can work for the buyer. Like you got a deal. So like chase it down. But I would find the money, and it's okay if the money comes from the seller as long as the deal makes sense. The way we structured it, if this is helpful, usually it's like we did a $2 million. I mean, nowadays we do more down because, it's easier. But we do like, let's call it a $500,000 down on a $2 to $2.5 million deal. So was that 20 to 25%? We amortize it over 10 years. So that means you take the note payments and you measure it as if it were a 10-year loan. And then we put in a balloon payment at 5 years.
Nice.
Yeah. So then the seller only has to be married to you for 5 years. I think what the unique advantage that I have, but anyone could have this advantage if they choose to like pursue this route, is at this point, I have 13 people I've been making seller notes to. And like if someone's like, hey, I'm having this conversation, are you interested in this like structure? Like, great. Here's 13 people to go call and ask if I've made payments. Like I've never missed a payment.
100%.
Yeah. So it has become easier with time, but like the first couple, I still did it without that.
Yeah. Love it, man.
Yeah. So I think that's the first one is like, I would get over the hump on how do you find the money, and just like, here's the 3 ways we can do it. And then just start talking to people.
And it's like most things, man. Like the first deal, the first, second, third, fourth, fifth deal, you probably weren't very great at it. And then you just started learning. And
I don't know that I'm great at it now. We've just done a lot.
Do it. I mean, I love that energy, man. I love that energy. So with all your growth, a lot of M&A, I'm sure that's not slowing down anytime, but what's next for you guys?
Yeah. Well, what's next for us, like, as I think about the last 10 years of my life, it has been not working alone. Like I have an incredible team, but as I think about like the building, the last few years has been like the most fun I've ever had. And it's been because I have way more friends in the industry, like you, like Jack, like Rich Jordan.
Yeah.
I have way more friends in the industry, and I can like talk to them. And then our team has just really like, we've grown together, which has been exciting. Like our senior leadership team, I think everyone's been with us for like 3 or 4 years. Like a lot of them since we were like a $5 million business. And like we've watched that journey and like been on that journey. So how I'm thinking about the next 5 years is like I'm trying to build with friends. And I want to, I've said this on the podcast a lot, but like someone told me how the wrench group started. Did you ever hear how the wrench group started? I fucking love this. So the wrench group started with 5 friends merging. And that was it.
Wow.
And so as like I've been talking to Jack about this of like, dude, I think we should just like merge 5 friends.
Yeah.
And like, can we build something huge? So the first 10 years of my life was sort of solo, obviously building a team. The last couple of years is like building alongside friends and like watching friends succeed. And how I'm thinking about the next 10 years of my life is I want to build with friends. And I mean, even just the past couple months with Jack has just been so much fun.
I bet.
It's been awesome. So,
it's been cool from afar watching you guys' journey.
It's been fun. It's awesome. Like it's been fun. So yeah, I'm enjoying that. So that's how I'm seeing like what's next for us is like how do we partner with my friends, some of the best operators that I know in this industry, and how do we build something really meaningful?
Well, we're rooting for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're making a huge impact. Like we love like tuning into the podcast, watching what you're doing. It's encouraging to us and it's motivating. It's like some of the reason why we're doing what we're doing. So I just thank you for that and keep bringing the energy to the industry.
Yeah, you've made a bigger impact than you know, man. So just thanks.
I think it's kind of funny.
Yeah,
I think it's kind of funny.
It's unbelievable.
I think like and I appreciate that because I think I'm a short white dude from Akron, Ohio. Like I'm a literal plumber from Akron, and I think it's been fun to share my journey, and like I've gotten a ton of value, and I've gotten to meet a lot of friends, and I have gotten so much value from it. But it is really cool, like being like, oh my god, like 10 years ago, I hoped to make an impact on the industry, and like I've done it. And that is like,
it's awesome.
Hell yeah. For like a plumber, like hell yeah.
You guys didn't get LeBron back, but you have John Wilson.
I know.
So,
yeah.
So now you just have to buy a location in Philadelphia.
I know. I got to bridge the gap.
Yeah.
I got to bridge the gap.
Well, hey man, seriously, thanks for being on. before we close, tell people how they can find you. Tell them about your podcast.
Yeah, we have a show. It's called Owned and Operated. We've been doing it for 6 years. If you want to start at the very front, it's actually pretty helpful for this conversation. I started the show so that I could learn how to buy businesses more professionally. So a lot of those early interviews were M&A entrepreneurs or small private equity firms. And I was trying to understand how to like make this a real core competency of ours. So you can listen all the way to those, or 350 episodes later, you can listen to the random stuff I'm up to now.
It's sure been helpful for us.
Yeah.
We've taken a lot from you, so
Yeah.
it's been great. Thanks, man. Well, thanks for joining the Reimagining Home Services podcast. Please like and subscribe wherever you're listening. And new episode drops every single Monday. So be sure to tune in and comment if there's a new episode topic that you want us to tackle. Thanks so much.